Right, so picture this. You're the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. You've got the nuclear codes, the dispatch box, probably a drawer full of fancy biscuits at number 10. You'd think that'd earn you at least a modicum of respect, wouldn't you? Well, not if you're Keir Starmer at the World Darts Championship. Because while Danny Noppert was warming up to throw some tungsten at a board, several thousand darts fans decided the real target should be the PM's dignity. And let me tell you, they hit the bullseye. Alexandra Palace, affectionately known as Ali Pally to anyone who's ever drunk overpriced lager from a plastic cup, became the unlikely venue for one of the most brutal political roastings of the year. The crowd, fueled by what I can only assume was a dangerous combination of beer, beef burgers, and barely suppressed rage about winter fuel allowances, belted out a chant so X-rated that Sky Sports had to scramble for the mute button faster than Starmer can dodge a direct question about his approval ratings. The chant? Well, let's just say it rhymed with banker and wasn't particularly complimentary. Keir Starmer is a wanker, they sang, loud and proud, drowning out the commentary like a tidal wave of collective frustration set to the tune of the White Stripes' Seven-Nation Army. Now, this wasn't some quiet mutter in the back row. Oh no, this was thousands of people, in unison, making absolutely certain that everyone watching at home, everyone in the arena, and quite possibly everyone in a 3-mile radius knew exactly how they felt about the current occupant of Downing Street. And the beautiful irony, this was broadcast live on Sky Sports. Not question time, not some fringe political debate. Darts, the people's game, the sport where you can wear a sparkly shirt, chuck pointy sticks at a circle, and apparently deliver a brutal verdict on national leadership. Sky Sports, bless them, tried to maintain some semblance of broadcast decency. They turned the volume down, pumped in some generic crowd noise, desperately hoping viewers at home might think the crowd was just really enthusiastic about double tops. But here's the thing about a few thousand people shouting the same thing, it's like trying to hide an elephant in a smart car. It doesn't work. The message came through loud and clear. Keir Starmer, according to the darts-loving public, is not having a good time. And this wasn't even the first time. That's what makes this story go from amusing to absolutely brutal. Last week, the same chant echoed around Ali Pally. Back in October at the World Grand Prix in Leicester, same song, same target, same desperate attempts by broadcasters to pretend it wasn't happening. It's become a tradition, like the Christmas #1 or complaining about train strikes. Except this tradition involves publicly humiliating the Prime Minister at sporting events. But wait, it gets better. During Nathan Aspinall's match against American star Leonard Gates, the chant started up again. Now, Nathan Aspinall, known in the darts world as the Asp, is a professional. He's there to win matches, not conduct political discourse. But when the crowd started their now famous anti-Starmer chorus, Aspinall did something absolutely magnificent. He threw his 3 darts, heard the volume rising, and then, in a moment of beautiful spontaneity, raised his arms in the air like a conductor encouraging his orchestra. The crowd naturally obliged. They got louder. Aspinall had essentially turned the World Darts Championship into a full-blown political protest, and he probably didn't even mean to. He was just vibing with the room. And the room was not fans of Keir Starmer. Let's take a moment to appreciate the absolute state of this situation. A professional darts player, mid-match, in the middle of throwing for a 3-0 victory, pauses to amplify political dissent. That's not something you see every day. That's not even something you'd make up for a satirical sketch. But it happened. Nathan Aspinall, possibly without even realizing it, became a conductor of public opinion, orchestrating a symphony of discontent, one arm wave at a time. Now here's where it gets properly awkward. Keir Starmer is supposedly an avid darts fan. Back in January, when Luke Littler became the youngest ever PDC World Darts Champion, Starmer was all over social media congratulating him, called it a mesmerizing performance, said Littler should be proud, praised him for being inspirational. All very nice, very prime ministerial. But imagine being Keir Starmer right now, knowing that the sport you love, the sport you publicly champion, has essentially become a venue for mass public criticism of your leadership. That's got to sting worse than accidentally sitting on a dart.
It's like being a massive Star Wars fan and then having every Star Wars convention you attend turn into a "we don't like you" chant, or being really into baking and having every episode of the Great British Bake Off interrupted by a stadium-sized crowd singing about how much they disapprove of your policies. It's deeply, deeply uncomfortable, and yet somehow also absolutely hilarious. The humiliation didn't even stop at the darts. Just one day before the Noppert match, Starmer took another hit at the Royal Variety performance. Dead Ringers, the impressionist group, did their thing on ITV, cycling through past prime ministers before landing on Starmer, and the audience, they booed loudly. The performer playing Starmer, in character, responded with a perfectly pitched piece of self-aware comedy. "Thank you, thank you. It's so lovely to be here. I've absolutely developed a brilliant strategy for surviving the round table by making sure that no one will vote for me ever again. It's called being Keir Starmer." Ouch! That's not just a roast, that's a slow-cooked, spit-roasted, hours-in-the-oven political evisceration delivered with a smile. And the audience loved it. They booed the impression of Starmer, but laughed at the joke about him, which really sums up where we are right now. People aren't even angry in a serious policy debate kind of way, they're angry in a laugh at the absurdity kind of way. And that might actually be worse for Starmer, because you can defend yourself against serious political criticism. It's much harder to defend yourself against becoming a punchline. So what does all this mean? Well, for one, it shows that public sentiment has a funny way of expressing itself. Forget opinion polls and focus groups. Sometimes the most accurate measure of how a prime minister is doing is whether they can attend a sporting event without being collectively roasted by thousands of people. And right now, Starmer can't. The darts crowd has spoken. The Royal Variety audience has spoken. They're not whispering their discontent in private or grumbling quietly over tea. They're shouting it, singing it, making absolutely certain it's heard. And it also highlights something fascinating about British political culture. We don't do angry mobs storming government buildings. We don't do dramatic, violent protests. We do sarcastic chants at the darts. We do booing at variety shows. We express our political dissatisfaction through the medium of light entertainment and sporting events, which is both very British and oddly effective, because here we are talking about it. Here the media is covering it. Keir Starmer is being held accountable not by Parliament, but by pubgoers with good aim and a sense of rhythm. And let's be honest, there's something quite beautiful about that. Democracy isn't just what happens in Westminster, it's also what happens when a few thousand people in a darts arena decide they've had enough and want to make their feelings known. It's messy, it's loud, it's occasionally X-rated, but it's undeniably authentic. These aren't focus-grouped slogans or carefully crafted political statements. This is raw, unfiltered public opinion, delivered with all the subtlety of a 180 checkout. For Starmer, though, this has got to be a nightmare. His approval ratings are already in the toilet. His government's decisions on things like winter fuel payments and farmer inheritance tax have gone down about as well as a lead balloon at a children's birthday party. And now, every time he watches his beloved darts, he's got to sit there knowing that at any moment the crowd might just decide to remind him how unpopular he is. That's psychological torture. That's like being a comedian and knowing that every time you tell a joke, someone in the audience is going to heckle you with your own approval ratings. So what happens next? Does Starmer avoid public events? Does he start wearing disguises to sporting venues? Does he lean into it, show up at Ali Pali with earplugs and a sense of humor? Or does he take it as the wake-up call that it clearly is and actually try to address the issues that have made him so deeply unpopular? Because, here's the thing, these chants aren't random. They're not just people being mean for the sake of it. They're a symptom of genuine frustration with a government that came into power promising change and has so far delivered, well, not much that people are particularly thrilled about. The darts crowd isn't wrong to be angry. People are struggling. Energy bills are high. The NHS is creaking. Public services are stretched thin. And while Starmer's government wrestles with the realities of governing, the public is sitting there thinking, hang on, isn't this supposed to be better? The chants at Ali Pali aren't just about Keir Starmer as the individual, they're about Keir Starmer as the symbol of a government that hasn't lived up to expectations. And Nathan Aspinall raising his arms wasn't him being political, all, that was him reading the room. That was him understanding that sometimes you've just got to let people express what they're feeling, and what they're feeling right now is frustrated, let down, and increasingly willing to make that known in whatever forum they can find. If that forum happens to be the World Darts Championship, so be it. So here we are, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, humiliated by a darts crowd, booed at a variety show, and probably wondering how his political career ended up being roasted in between 180s and treble 20s. It's absurd, it's brutal, and it's absolutely fascinating. If you've made it this far, smash that like button because clearly you appreciate a good political roasting as much as the next person. Subscribe to UK Political Insight if you haven't already, because we're bringing you all the chaos, all the drama, and all the moments when British politics gets absolutely ridiculous. Drop a comment below and let me know, do you think Starmer deserves the stick he's getting, or is this all a bit harsh?